Amazing the difference a bit of polish makes. So from that to something like that. Goodness, it's a freaking lot of work though, holy crap. So much work. So much work. What is up guys, welcome to another episode of the GU. Shortly after we finished the last episode, I was just moving it around. I took it for a quick little spin up the road and it developed a miss. It's missing on a few cylinders, which I'm assuming is obviously because a couple of the injectors are full of crap because there was no fuel filter. So new fuel filters have arrived. I've actually tested this one before it's going in. Just about to get on the floor here on the dirt and put a new filter in it. Just gonna run a bit of ethanol through that tank or a little bit of injector cleaner or something and really just hope that these injectors just clear up. Fingers crossed. I really don't want to have to pull them out. That will suck. But anyway, a few other cool fun things have actually arrived for the GU, and I have been polishing up my wheels, which has been taking a long time, and I've got some hardware on the way to complete the wheels. So everything's looking up Millhouse. I've got some wheel nuts for the new wheels and everything, so I thought we'd start another episode. We'll get a new fuel filter in this thing. I at least still would really like to start driving it around a bit. Next weekend there's a bit of an event that I would like to be able to take it to. I really need to get it driving and start actually using it a bit, so that's the plan. All right guys, the new filter seems to be fine, but whatever's going on with this miss, it appears to be pretty average. I'm pretty sure one of these injectors might actually be stuck open the way it's behaving. So I've got some of this boost and clean. As you saw in the last episode, I did put some fuel system cleaner in the fuel that I put in the sub tank before the sub tank came out. So I'm gonna chuck this, that fuel, most of that fuel went back into the main tank. So I'm gonna chuck this into what's in the main tank at the moment. There's about a half tank of fuel in there. And I'm gonna go for just a bit of a drive and just sort of flog the piss out of this thing. And hopefully it frees up / cleans up whatever's going on with these injectors. So let's go for a bill and see. Woo-wee, listen to that miss. Yeehaw. So I really wanted to chuck some E85 in there. Obviously that's really good, just a little bit, just as an additive to clean out the injectors, but we have none left here. So I have to go get some. So hopefully this stuff works. I've got an engine light on. I'm pretty sure that is because one of the injectors is stuck open, causing a miss or something. I don't know. I'm assuming it's something to do with the O2 sensor being out of range because I think there's a whole heap of raw fuel going straight through it. But anyway, let's go for a flog up the road and see if it clears up or not. TB power. Yeehaw. All right, so that didn't help guys, still missing. I checked the engine code, it is literally just multiple misfires detected. So I backed it back up to the shed here. As you can see, it's blowing a fair bit of blue smoke, but it does smell fuely. So I don't know. I'm not sure if maybe it's burnt an exhaust valve or something and it's drawing heaps of oil through the exhaust valve, but it's not getting any blow by, it's not rings. Engine seems fine, there's no blow by. So we thought we'd chuck the sniffer in it, see what the AFR is doing. And that'll give us a bit more of an indication of what the hell's going on. The car that keeps on giving. Yeah, so we are just literally just off the scale rich, off the charts. So rich as, so I think it's just fuel. So anyway, with the assumption that it's just an injector stuck open because it's full of crap, I'm just gonna keep driving around a little bit. I'll drive it home tonight, bring it back tomorrow, see what it does. Hopefully it's nothing to do with burning oil, but like I said, pull the oil cap off, there's no blow by in there. So if it doesn't come good, by Monday, I'll get some more E85. That'll be the plan if it doesn't clear up on its own. But anyway, we'll get onto some fun stuff. Let's get onto some fun things with this car that just doesn't want to run right ever and wants to keep being a pain in my anus.
What the doodle hole?
So here's my little pile of patrol goodies. I've got a new key, which I'm hoping someone can code. I've got to get cut. I've got a 7-pin flat trailer plug because it's got a big 7-pin round on it and nothing that we have a 7-pin round. Oh, not big F7-pin round anyway. Here's my new wheel nuts for my wheels that I'm polishing up as we speak. It's just really hard on the old bung arm and it takes a lot of time and it's disheartening and it's hard work and I'm just doing them a little bit as we go. So anyway, hopefully by the end of the week, they're all polished up, ready to go on. We'll find out. But anyway, this is the most exciting thing which we're going to start with is new speakers. So we discovered last episode that we're pretty sure it was just all the speakers that are cooked. We don't think it's actually anything to do with anything else in the car. We had that one speaker in the passenger door that came good for a little while, but now it's gone again. So hopefully we are right and it is just speakers. Fingers crossed. But anyway, no, driver's door. Driver's door is what I meant. Passenger door is the one I took out. But anyway, apparently 6.5-inch speakers fit. So that's what I went ahead and did. So I've got some. Those are not the right speakers. They're not what I ordered. I've just realised that is very frustrating. Oh, goodness gracious. Alright, Well, this sort of wrecks my day, doesn't it? Ruins my day. These were not meant to be coaxial. These are meant to be like actives with splitters. So, I'm gonna have to get onto this mod. Oh, hate that. Day ruined. Well, that'll ruin your day. I'll have to get that sorted out. But anyway, in the meantime, we'll go on with the back speakers that I got for the back doors. Got some kickers, 300 watts. Honestly, I'm freaking tone deaf. I used to play a lot of guitar and drums and stuff as a kid. I've always been just tone deaf, so I wasn't really even that worried about amps and getting amazing speakers. As long as I can freaking hear it over the choo-choo-choo, or in this case, the miss, I'm happy. That'll do. So anyway, these can go in the back doors. Yeehaw. At least if I get these in the back doors now, hopefully they just work. That'll confirm that it is just a speaker issue that we've got, and we might be a bit closer to obviously finding another issue with the car if it's not a speaker problem. So, all right guys, so this whole miss situation seems to be getting worse and it's really bothering me. Rex is welding the shed, so he's got it all closed up anyway, so I can't really get in and out to get tools to do what I want with the speakers. So I'm just gonna run to our closest server that has E85. I'm gonna get a heap of E85 and come back and try my little experiment to try and get this cleared up with E, and fingers crossed that works. But the way it seems to have got worse just to move it around the front here to do these speakers. So I'm definitely not too keen on driving it around. You know, in the, obviously the risk of hydro, if there's an injector stuck open, you're on the risk of hydrolocking. If you hydrolock and bend a rod, that's gonna be game over. You know, this $14 fuel filter, screw around, I will be very, very upset if it ends up costing me an engine. So I'm gonna go and try and get this thing sorted ASAP pretty much. Yeah, not cool. Anyway, it is what it is. All right, the setup, boys and girls. Old hanger out of the sub tank with our Raceworks 340 LPH E85 safe pump with a bucket of E85. We're running this straight through the rails with a filter. I've just looped the old fuel line, so the actual fuel from the tank's just gonna loop around. I'm gonna get Rex to whack the pump on after I start cranking. I don't want to have the pump going before I crank with the risk of hydrolocking the engine. So hopefully we can get this started and running on the E85 and it can just run for a little while. And hopefully this clears out this injector issue. Do it a few times, hopefully it's cleared out. If it doesn't, it means we have to get the oscilloscope out and start pinning the injector pins, make sure we haven't got one that's shorted. And then if we don't have one that's shorted and they are all pulsing the way they should be, well then it's probably just going to have to be an injector out job, which I'm not looking forward to because that means it's a plenum off, which is a lot of freaking time. But anyway, we'll try this, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, the E85. Let's go. E85 TB48, eat your heart out. Still missing. Anyway, we'll just let it run through a few litres of E85 and fingers crossed that sorts us out. I'm gonna be so pissed off if it doesn't. Righto guys, it's not looking good. Still doing the same thing. I'll let it run through another couple of litres of E, but it's not getting any better. It's doing the exact same thing. We just top the bucket up again for the third time, so that, by the time it goes through that, that's gonna be about 10 litres of E it's gone through. It's chewing fuel, obviously, because there's an injector stuck open, or multiple, potentially. Well, we tried guys, but if a good 10 litres of straight ethanol, or E85, isn't going to clear it up, well then it's just not gonna happen on its own. Pretty crap day, really. I mean, wrong speakers, everything's wrong, patrol's not fixed, still missing, got a stuck injector. So through this whole process, we've always kept that fuel pressure gauge on the feed line to obviously fault find all this fuel pressure issues we've been having with the thing. And that fuel system has forever held pressure. When you turn the car off, it's always held pressure around 20 PSI or something, doesn't usually drop below that. But now you turn the car off, fuel pressure just drops back to 0. So that's sort of a pretty clear indication that there is an injector stuck open. That's a pretty clear indication that it's not electrical, because once you turn the car off and the injector is not getting 12 volt, well then even an electrical short that's shorting on the pulse on the trigger side isn't going to hold the injector open if it's not getting 12 volt. The only thing that's going to be holding it open is shit physically holding the injector open, which, yeah, like Rex is saying, probably just going to have to pull that plenum off and pull those injectors out, which I'm really not stoked about. So frustrating that it makes it feel like such a lemon, but in reality, the only issue it's had so far was terrible fuel pressure when it got here, which was due to both either that pump or the filter that was in it, or both. And then we swapped that filter with a faulty filter, and the problem continued to happen because the filter was faulty, and that faulty filter then in turn caused this issue with now we've got injectors stuck open because of shit in the injectors because of the filter not being in the system. So it's been just sort of one thing after another that's just really making me dislike the whole process of this whole freaking situation. It's annoying, but it's not particularly the car's fault at all. So Just freaking frustrating. Righto guys, so I'm about halfway through getting this plenum off. I did have a look. I reckon you could just about get this rail out forwards without having to take the plenum off, but the knock sensor wiring is actually in with the injector wiring, and where the knock sensors are located with all the crap that's on this side of the motor, I had a quick look at getting this plenum off, and I figured it's probably going to be just as easy and take just as long to get the plenum off as it would be to try and get those knock sensors undone and then try and jimmy that rail out through the front. So decided to bite the bullet and just go ahead and remove the plenum. I should probably add that at this point I've had sort of 2 days to calm down. It's about 2 days later since the last clip, so I've sort of calmed down a bit. And once again, working on this car, it's remarkable actually how easy it is, or has been so far. Touch wood, I don't have any wood to touch, but touch wood, so far it's been very easy to actually get to this point with this plenum. So again, this car, the more I work on it, the more I actually seem to like it, but I like the way it's put together. It's all been quite easy to work on and get at. So hopefully there's nothing hiding under here that's going to make me regret that I just said that. But yeah, so far it's actually been not too bad. Fairly simple job. So a few advantages obviously as well to actually removing the plenum as opposed to trying to get the rail out from the front. I think I'll thank myself for it when I go to have to put these injectors back in. But I did have a look. Obviously we have a few great suppliers for injectors, and I thought the idea of just buying a new set and just swapping them out was a lot better because it meant a lot less downtime for the car. I didn't have to immobilize the car for as long as it would take to send these injectors away and have them serviced, because we don't do it in-house. So I found a supplier that sells these exact injectors, and for whatever reason, these injectors are just brutally expensive. I have no idea why, but they're just hugely expensive. Our trade pricing for one single injector, one of these injectors, is like $280. I think that's excluding GST as well. I worked out it was going to be over $1,800 for a new set of 6 of these injectors, which is just absolutely mind-boggling. We've never it's just so expensive. Like that's the price of a brand new set of 8 XS by Expert 1500 stainless steel injectors, and that's for 8 of these stock injectors. I believe these are the same as stock RB25 Neo injectors, but yeah, for whatever reason they're just ridiculously expensive. That's not happening. So we're here pulling the plenum off. We're gonna pull the rail off. We're gonna have to send these injectors down to Jay there at Brisbane Fuel Injection Services. Gonna get them fully serviced, get them back, put them back in. Hopefully that was the problem, and hopefully after that it's smooth sailing. And definitely learned my lesson. Leave the car immobilized. Do not run it without a fuel filter. God, what a pain in the ass. But it is what it is. Anyway, we'll get this plenum off, get these injectors out, and get them sent off. And it'll be, hopefully from then, happy days with this thing. Righto guys, injectors are out, ready to go off to Jay there at Brisbane Fuel Injection Services for a complete service, clean, fix up. Worth spending the money on them if they're freaking nearly $300 a piece. So that's what's happening there. Now, when I pulled these injectors out, the fuel that came out of this rail was still just gross. It was black, it was just disgusting. So my assumption is that, obviously when we got this car, you saw from the condition of that fuel filter, that the fuel system in this thing had been severely neglected, so my assumption is that there's heaps of crap in this rail that still just can't, you know, actually get through past the regulator. So obviously while these are off getting sorted, I'll pull this regulator off. I'm going to do a complete clean out of this rail, make sure it's all nice and tip top, and then get it back together for when the injectors come back. And hopefully after that, that's a whole new fuel system. It's new tank, all new lines, new filter, new injectors, just about. We'll clean out the rail and stuff, and hopefully from then on, it's fine. But anyway, well, there's a lesson to be learned here, guys. Don't take for granted brand new parts. Always check them. You know, don't ever take the word for it just because it's a new part. Check your parts. Make sure they're not faulty, because, my lord, what an absolute pain this whole process has been. I was dreading it, but it actually wasn't that bad. So, and we made it just in time. It's just started raining, so we just got in out of the rain just in time. Rightio, boys and girls, injectors are back. Hopefully all fresh and brand new. Hopefully this problem is gone. So I cleaned out the rail, brake clean. Still coming out fairly black at the start there, so a fair bit of stuff that came out of that rail. So put it all together with these injectors, the rail all cleaned out, the whole fuel system's pretty much brand new. Hopefully that's the end of these issues. Let's go, get it done. She's all back together. Once again, really can't complain about how easy this thing is actually to work on. So anyway, it's time to see whether this actually fixes our issue, or whether I'm gonna go hit my head on the concrete a few times. So. Oh, Oh. Smooth. Smooth as. Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. I like it. Oh. Ooh. Yes. This is meant to be the dipstick for the RE5, which basically take the cap off the filler tube and whack the dipstick in, and then I can actually check the fluid level in the gearbox, which will be handy. So double check that. Dusty's got some new struts going on, bonnet struts, so we don't have to keep using that thing. So that'll be sick. Be all bloody brand new. Finished polishing the wheels enough. So you can see the first two are like, I don't know, you might not be able to see it on camera very easily, but the first two are like real shine on. They're the first two I did, they're going on the Milky Bar side. There's the other two that me and Darcy just did, and I'm not even worried anymore, I just want them on the car. So these are a little bit less shine on than those ones. So those are going to go Milky Bar side, these are going to go driver's side. So while we're cracking all the wheels, Darcy's checking the kingpins and the wheel bearings. I think that's where most of the vibration, the wobble is coming from. Oh, she looks freaking amazing, how good. Get it out in the sun. We don't have any sun today, so probably won't get it out in the sun, but oh, look at that. These are the not shiny side. Almost as nice as that. Right, I had to get a bit of agricultural here, but remove a few parts and we're all good. Here we are, lead up the cooling system. Go for a drive. We also noticed, just from going lock to lock, seeing if the wheels would rub, Darcy found that it is actually the panhard bush on the diff end. So new panhard bushes. Hopefully after that we're all sweet, driving all sweet. Oh, look at that. Who's here, Joe? Check it. This is obviously the not well polished side. These are the ones that were a bit better polished. And I faced them away from the sun, which was silly, but anyway. Looks wicked. I'm actually really liking the stance with no lift. May not even end up ever putting lift in it. Try and get it set up so that I can drive it at full track down the strip without being terrified like I am of that thing. Without it feeling like it's floating at a 160 to 180k an hour. Oh, looks awesome. Stoked. A few more things sorted on the big girl, but yeah, she's coming along. It's all coming together. I'm excited to get those lock rings on it with the new hardware and stuff once they're painted up and ready. It's gonna be good. We'll do like a little visual shoot then. All right, new speakers going in the rears while I still wait for the fronts. But yeah, clean up the door cards as they go back on, and hopefully the door cards don't have to come back off anytime soon. We've got some rear door speakers, and for whatever reason with the rear ones working, that one front one came back as well. So go figure, I don't understand that. But anyway, before I did that, I did some very delicate straightening out of these fake beadlock rings on the concrete with a hammer, but they come out fairly straight. I've edge primed them now, and I'm just going to start painting them black. So hopefully my new bolts are here soon, and then they can go back on. And getting pretty close to this thing not having to touch it again for a while. So that's the main thing, is just to get this all done so that I can just not have to touch it for a while. Ooh, look what just arrived. The right speakers for the front. I just put all the freaking wiring stuff away. Anyway, that's all right. That means that this can get finished and freaking done, and I'll have doofs. Doofs, the doof bus, the bop bus. Righto guys, bit of install going on. These speakers do look real nice. But anyway, so we've got the actual box, and then the tweeter, and then obviously the speaker, and the input for the box piggybacks off the speaker. And they give you pre-terminated terminals on both ends of this, but then the actual tweeter, the ends are unterminated, and they don't actually give you any like terminations, any crimps for the speaker in. So what I actually did, because I don't have any spades small enough to close over the negative on the speaker, I actually cut the terminated end off this, use that on the speaker end out of the car, and then because of where I put the tweeter in this little trim, instead of actually in the door card, I just put a spade terminal joiner on it so that it can come off and on without having to, fight the door card at the same time. So that's basically the idea there. It was because the door card has to go on first before that goes on, but if that was hardwired, that would make it very, very difficult to work with. So that's what I've done there. And then this box, it sits out like that because it's going to end up sitting. It's a nice little pocket just in there. So I drilled that hole in that for a zip tie. So that box just goes in there and gets zip tied. It's not in the way of anything. And that's happy days install. So I'll just get it back together after I clean up this door card, and happy days. I'm gonna do the other side. I've already done this tweeter on the other side. Did them at the same time so they were even, because if they were uneven, my OCD would never let me let it go. So yeah, we'll get it together. Yeehaw, look at that. Not bad. I reckon I got them pretty even. I reckon they're pretty good. Sounds good. All 4 speakers, who's here? Yeehaw. Righto guys, quick update on the patrol situation. I bought a Super Pro front panhard bush kit from a local parts store. They sent it to me, but it is like for a bush end at the diff side. And what I found when I pulled this out was actually it's a spherical bearing, like a big heim joint almost on the diff end. Anyway, I looked at the part numbers that they sold to me, and on the Super Pro website there are obviously different part numbers for ones with a spherical and on the diff end, but the information as to which years is very conflicting. So not really particularly anyone's fault, just I do definitely need a spherical bearing for that end. So unfortunately, I don't think there was really anything wrong with that spherical bearing. I think it was fine. It was more so the diff end that was the problem, but I wrecked the dust cover on the spherical bearing by trying to push it out because I thought it was just a bush. So anyway, you get that on the big job. So it does have to get replaced sometime quite soon, but for now it just went back in so the car wasn't immobilized. And the new diff end bush has helped quite a bit. So it's taken a lot of the shake out, but it is still getting a little bit of a shake up. So at this stage, my kingpins are pulled all the way down with no spaces at all. So if it's them, it means I'm going to need swivel hubs done, which I'm definitely not doing because screw that. But so pretty much before we go any further into trying to find anything that's causing it, it's definitely, I can deal with it now. I'm happy to drive it now. It's just still got a little bit of a shake. So before anything else, I want to get these tires and wheels balanced properly. I noticed when I was putting these on that some of the wheels are missing quite a few weights where there used to be weights, whether that is from an old set of tires or whether they've come off while they've been sitting or when they were taken off the last vehicle, I don't know. But either way, before I go chasing my tail around this issue, the next thing is just going to be a full balance and alignment, and then go from there. Hopefully that takes out that last bit of a wobble. Fingers crossed that's all it is, and it'll be happy days from there. But if not, we'll just keep looking at stuff. At least I'm fine to drive it around. So the only other thing I've noticed now that I've actually been driving it a bit more is that it is using quite a lot of fuel, like a lot more than I feel like it should be. I chucked the scan tool on it just so I could have a look at the O2 sensors and the short-term, long-term trims and that sort of thing. I've given the MAF just a good clean out with some MAF cleaner. Pulled it out this morning, gave it a clean out. So it's trimming a lot of fuel out. Not sure why. It doesn't appear to have any sort of map sensor, so it doesn't appear to be any issue there. So next thing is basically to go wideband in it and go for a drive and actually see what it's actually doing. Make sure that the trims that it's showing are actually bringing it back into a reasonable range of air-fuel ratio, or whether there's something else wrong here. But I don't know. I figure maybe just the fact that it was obviously running on gas prior to me pulling the gas out, not to mention the fact that I think it was mostly run on gas because of how neglected the fuel system was and the issues we had with the fuel system. So obviously running on gas, I'm not sure how that would affect the long-term learning of the ECU, the petrol ECU, not the gas one. Obviously the gas ECU just piggybacks the petrol one, so still uses a lot of the petrol sensors and stuff. So not sure how that would have affected that there. And then obviously when it was running on petrol, if it had bugger all fuel pressure that whole time, the ECU would have just been trying to jam fuel in. So without being able to see lots on the ECU, only using a scan tool, without knowing what the ECU strategies for doing such things are, that's sort of just my assumption at the moment, is that after being so long with such a bad fuel system and being on gas, that the long-term learning of the ECU is all out of whack, and maybe it'll just take a bit of driving for it to sort itself out. But anyway, we'll do a bit more fault finding, a bit more testing, but it's coming along. It's coming along. So the lock rings, I've beat them flat and painted them up, and they're coming out pretty good. Most of the hardware arrived for them. Unfortunately, they only sent me 4 out of the 9 packets of bolts they ordered, so obviously they didn't have enough stock, which I didn't realize until they'd got here. I actually didn't realize until I was putting this hardware together, and then I ran out. There's still so much to go. So, but you get a pretty good idea of what they're going to look like. So the black with the gold hardware, yeah, I reckon they're going to look pretty good once they're on the car. It is what it is. Obviously, I'm not a huge fan of the fake bead locks. I would really sort of rather not have them on there, to be honest. I would probably like it better if these wheels were just Mickey Thompson Classics, not the bead lock sort of fake bead lock ones. But as far as for what they are, I think they're going to look pretty good, respectable enough for me. And yeah, just see how much I like them when they're on the wheels. Obviously, I'll wait until they go on the wheels to get them balanced. So I've got to wait for the rest of that hardware to show up, so I can get those finished off, put on the wheels, get the wheels balanced, get the car aligned, and then keep chasing this shake in the front. But anyway, loving driving around a car that's got like AC and a working stereo, which the Statesman does not. So yeah, it's cool. I'm enjoying it. It's good. Just got to keep sorting it out, keep sorting through some issues, and yeah, keep on keeping on. I'm still really liking the look of these wheels. This is what I mean, where like if they were just Mickey Thompson Classics and they didn't have fake bead locks, I'd be stoked to just leave them like that. But the way the wheels are with these threads and stuff in them, I don't know, they just look weird without the rings. It's almost like now, because of the way the wheel's manufactured, you sort of need the rings to dress the wheels up, so they'll definitely go on. But anyway, still loving the look out of them. I've still got to get a correct size spare tire to put on the spare, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting this thing sorted so that we can start doing some fun stuff to it. And boy, am I keen for this thing to be boosted already. Me and Rex were driving here the other day, yesterday, and already I was like, this thing needs boost. It needs to be boosted. The speakers go great though. Head units seem to be doing fine with the speakers. Like, it is an Alpine head unit, so yeah, music's good. Get to listen to music, sit in AC. My nice comfy car, it's great. Not something I'm used to after these years driving shit boxes.